All right. Hey, everybody. What's up? Sorry, I'm running a little behind today. Let's see if this is a better angle. It sure is. I am running a little behind, but that's okay. Better here late than never, right? Whatever that saying is. Okay. Let's get this show on the road. Let me get situated and unprivate this because I'm pretty sure it's going to be private on Facebook right now. So all the people that are here on YouTube, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for supporting me and my channel. And thank you so much for being open-minded to different pathways of recovery. Today, we're having a guest speaker, my friend Ryan Riggs. Ryan is fucking amazing, dude. And I have learned so much from his content, especially recently because he's been sharing a lot about different treatment options. Okay, so let's go to Facebook so that way everybody can see us. Hey, Nancy. Hey, Jules. Will you guys do me a solid too, everybody that's in here? Will you guys share the video, like the video, and invite your friends? Share the video, like the video, and invite your friends. And I'm going to do the same thing as well. So, and then we will pull Ryan up here and get this show on the road. For those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Nicole Pludre. I've been sober since July 13th of 2015. My pathway to recovery that I use to stay sober is medication-assisted treatment, and I also use therapy and a recovery program called MARA, which is Medication-Assisted Recovery Anonymous. It's like going to meetings, you know? So that's what I do for my recovery. For over 10 years, I tried to get sober through abstinence-only recovery. And I thought I was a failure. I thought because I couldn't get sober through abstinence that I was never going to be able to get sober. I thought I was a failure. I thought I was broken. I thought there was something wrong with me because I couldn't get sobriety the way it was being taught to me in rehab. And I live in the Bible Belt in Arkansas, and the only way that was ever taught to me to get sober was abstinence-only recovery. So for, over 10 years, I call it being brainwashed because I was indoctrinated into believing that sobriety was one way or the highway. And if you were not doing it that way, then you might as well just be shooting heroin or shooting meth and die with a needle in your arm. So it took me a really long time to shift my beliefs, even after getting sober with MAT treatment and knowing that this was helping me. It took me over 4 years into my sobriety before I started shifting my beliefs and opening my mind to other alternative pathways to recovery. Even though I knew that abstinence-only recovery did not work for me, and so many of my friends, I had been indoctrinated for so long that I was still parroting what I was taught in these recovery programs for many, many years. And it wasn't helpful for me. And so I want to share with you guys and bring people onto my channel who can share with you guys alternative pathways to recovery that have worked for them, that have full experience with that. And that's what we're doing today. So let me get Ryan. So let me shut up and get my friend. Okay. Let me make sure you're on there with me. Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, let me see. Hold on, Ron. Let me see. It might be.
Hold
on.
Hello?
Hold on. Audio. Echo cancellation. Okay. I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, yeah.
You can hear me, but I can't hear you. Okay, what am I doing wrong? All right, hold on. This is a me problem, not a you problem. Right.
Yeah, it says everyone can see and hear me.
Okay, tell me something. Say something again.
It says everyone can see and hear me on the screen.
There we go. It's just really, really low. Okay, what we're going to do is I'm going to grab my earphones. And then we can get the show on the road.
Listen, I can take down that earpiece. I can take out the
As you
earpiece.
can see, we're super unprofessional here, but that's okay because what matters is the message. And so Ryan's fixing to share with us a message that's super important about, like I said, alternative pathways. So let me grab my earphones so he can do that. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm walking through the battle zone. My son's playing Oculus with his best friend, y'all.
I'm sitting in my daughter's bedroom right now.
Okay.
You can see.
Oh, there we go. And right before this, y'all, I was getting ready and Ryan called me and he's like, I'm here, or texted me and said, I'm here. And I was like, I can't find my tooth. I can't go live until I find my tooth. So I was so embarrassed. Okay, hold on. There we go. I'm so glad I got these because when I was gone on my little vacation this last week, they came in handy and I was able to use them on the airplane. Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, this is so much better. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you good. Do you want me to try to do it without the earpiece and see if it sounds better?
Well, I mean, it sounds really clear to me right now.
Okay.
Let me ask everybody else. Hey guys, let me know in the comment section right now, how do me and Ryan sound? Can you guys hear us really well? Because I want you guys to be able to hear. I want there to be no echo. So please let me know in the comment section right now when you can.
Yeah, and this is what my voice, that's so you can hear me talking now. This is a test.
Testing,
Anyway, so
testing, 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
so how's life been treating you, Nicole?
It's been going good, man. It's been going good. I've been trying to stay busy. You know, I'm actually really trying to lose weight right now. And I was just talking about it over on TikTok because that's one of the main issues that I have is like I've been able to stay sober, but now I'm struggling so much with my weight. So that's what I've been focusing on and trying to work on recently. But I'm doing so. Celebrated my 8 years in July, and
Congrats.
I'm trying to stay focused on staying positive and helping people. That I am so excited. I want you. So this is the purpose, okay?
Okay.
So recently here on social media, over on YouTube specifically, I've been getting a lot of kickback and a lot of people not understanding about different alternative pathways to recovery, such as ketamine infusions, people using psilocybin for
Right.
addiction recovery and depression. And so
Right.
what I'm doing is I'm reaching out to people that I know have used these pathways and have had success with them to come share their experience.
All right.
So what I would love for you to do is I'm going to kind of shut my mic off because I really want you to share why you started your journey into different pathways to recovery. What
Okay.
was your experience when you first started getting sober? And then
Okay.
what led you to doing what you're doing now and how is it working for you? And if I have any questions, I'll ask, but I really just want to listen. Okay.
I got you. Cool. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank you. First of all, let me say thank you for having me here and your audience for coming and just being willing to listen. I always try to take every opportunity I can to try to share my experience to help maybe educate others or, just give others something to think about in terms of their own care. I know for me, this has been such a transformative thing for me. And I was lucky to have heard of it from some other people that I trusted. And thank God that I did. And that because it led me on my own search that led me to that doorstep. And, you know, I am eternally grateful for that. And so anytime I get a chance to do that, I try to be there for that. But I want to say this before I get started. Everything that I say is just strictly my experience. This is not any type of medical advice or, anything. There's tons of different research online. Um, one place specifically for psychedelics is a place called MAPS, which is the uh, multidisciplinary, I forget what the A stands for, Association, I believe, of Psychedelic Studies. And then you have like Hopkins Psychedelic, which is the place in Johns Hopkins that does the psychedelic research. And then the NIMH website. Also, there's tons of different research that you can just look up yourself if you're interested and find all that information. I suggest anybody who's interested in coming down this pathway do that to educate themselves so that they because nobody knows you better than you. And so after reading this research, you can make decisions that are better for your own care, right? And so that's what I had to do because I just don't trust the medical establishment, to be honest with you. And why anybody does, it blows my mind. So I think that,
Yeah.
very much person-driven and self-informed care is where the medical profession should be headed, and I'm going to go there even if they're not. So um
I totally agree. And what I'm going to do while you're sharing is I'm going to find the places that you just told me about and put them in the comment section. And I really appreciate you saying that. Like, you guys, we're just sharing with you what Ryan has done and his experiences with this. And I really want to encourage you guys, like, if you're working with your doctor and you're unhappy with the treatment that you're getting from a doctor that you're working with right now, it's okay to go find another doctor. It's okay to go get a second opinion, a third opinion, a fourth opinion, a fifth opinion. It's okay to seek out. You have to advocate for yourself. And I think Ryan's going to be able to do a great job of explaining to you guys how he has been able to advocate for himself. So go ahead, Ryan.
all right, so listen, Nicole, will you remind me, like make a note or something and remind me to mention some of the places that I know of if people are interested where they can go further beyond research. um
Absolutely.
and so like just remind me to mention it at the end.
Okay.
So anyway, I've been in recovery since about 2006. I'm not like a person come in and got it and stayed. I was one of those people that relapse was a large part of my story. But for the better part of since 2006, I've been in recovery. And so, I've had a lot of slips along the way, some jail stays and prison stays and all that stuff. But anyway, long story short, um, in 2019, after 5.5 years of continuous recovery, I relapsed. And this was like the third time that I'd done that with multiple years in recovery. And so, it was a little bit demoralizing. And previously up to this point, I hadn't really been exposed to treatment at any level, only recovery. And what I mean by that is like I had only been to I had been to some recovery organizations that were like 12-step centered, but they weren't treatment. They were like recovery, and it was all 12-step centered. I had been to like a doctor and stuff, like psychiatrists and stuff when I was younger, but I had never really been treated for anything that was underlying my substance use disorder. And the 12 steps worked really good at getting me back in touch with my spirit and doing really good for myself. And it seemed like my depression and anxiety and ADHD seemed to be under control for a while. um, but eventually, like I said, after 5.5 years, I ended up relapsing. And what I found out from that relapse was that there was a lot of contribute. Like I had never addressed really the underlying issues of, and I don't mean like the resentments and all that shit, that too, which I had done that through steps, but like my depression and anxiety and PTSD and all these things, I never really, understood how they contributed to my addiction. And because all I knew was the disease model, because that's all they teach you in 12-step recovery. And there's a whole lot of other models, right? And like the trauma informed, understanding is not that it's a disease. And I kind of like that model, but I ain't gonna get into all that. But I'm just saying, and so, after I relapsed, I was kind of away from recovery for a couple of years, trying to get myself together. But like I was trying to recover my own way, but I wasn't really going to meetings or anything like that because I had experienced some, you know, uh, shame or whatever from the invisible hierarchies that get established inside those 12-step rooms.
It's a
And,
huge
and,
shaming experience when you go out and relapse after multiple years of recovery. And then when you try to come back in, a lot of times, because these groups have already been established for so long and people click up inside of them, it's like the worst feeling coming back and feeling like everybody's been like, did you see Ryan Riggs? He relapsed after having 10 years of sobriety. Oh,
right. Well, not
yeah.
just that. Well, not just that, Nicole, but it's like people who felt less than you, like to them, like you needed to be humbled because
Yeah.
you were arrogant, but really like they were insecure. And so like so many people came to me and was like, yeah, God just was trying to give you some humility. I'm like, no, if that's what you got out of this, and then you were like my downfall, like you saw that and you were like, yeah, like that was some humility, like then that's some shit on your end. You know what I'm saying?
That's like
Like
a weird way to look at it. Like
right,
you were humble. That's why you like. That's what
right,
I
like
don't like about that kind of stuff. That's why I have had to disconnect so much, because I don't believe that God would ever want that for any of us.
well, not only that, but like but yeah, man, yeah. Well, let me just leave that. I don't want to go
Okay,
down that rabbit hole,
keep on
but
going, because we will
but
go down the rabbit hole.
I know, but because I love. At the end of the day, I gotta say this too, because like one thing I believe is that a whole lot of things can coexist at the same time, right? Like
Yes.
I can have flaws and see flaws with that fellowship, but I can also love it tremendously and find
Right.
great
Right.
benefit in it as well, which is true for me, right?
I adore the steps. I think the
Same,
steps help save my life. I
same,
love
same,
them.
same. And so but um, and so um, hold on one second. I'm sorry, my
You're
daughter
okay.
came in
Take your
here.
time.
I got interrupted for a second. Um, but yeah, so anyway, so you said I love the 12 steps, but what I found out after my relapse was that like I hadn't really addressed any of my depression and anxiety and that stuff. And it stayed in check as long as I was spiritually fit and I was like really spiritually grounded. But you know, there's times in people's lives where they're just not spiritually grounded. You understand what I'm saying? And it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means that. And so when I wasn't so spiritually connected, like all that stuff would rear its head a little bit more, the depression, the anxiety, and I didn't know how to manage any of it. And ultimately it led to my relapse. And so I was out for a couple of years. And then when you know, I tried to like, during that time, I started using cannabis because I had got real depressed and I was having trouble eating and you know, all that stuff. And so, and it was working for me. I was just using cannabis. I was on Suboxone as well for MAT, and I just was doing that, and I was really successful. I had a flooring company, and things were great. Um, but I ended up relapsing again, and you know, went off the deep end, and that ended with a suicide attempt. And so, um, you know, once that happened, I woke up in treatment, and you know, my wife had came home and found me in the floor, overdosed, and intentionally naked, and got me up and got me in the car. And the treatment center in New Jersey said if I could get there, I wouldn't lose my bed. So she drove me there, and I woke up there, and I just, it was just crazy. And just thinking about it now just like gets me all worked up. But
Yeah.
you know, because I almost didn't make it, and sometimes now when I experience really good things in my life, it's like I really had my first emotion is like I almost didn't live to see this shit, you know.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
know
kind of
how you
crazy,
feel.
but anyway, so and when I was in treatment, I saw this documentary, a 30 for 30 ESPN about this baseball player for the Texas Rangers that shot himself and survived in the head, and he actually did it and fell and like woke back up hours later, and in that documentary, like it was so weird how I like woke up to it at like 3 in the morning. Like, what are the chances of this shit being on? You know what I mean?
Right.
And his therapist was on there, and she said a statistic that like shook me to my core. And it said of people that attempt and are unsuccessful, 40% of those people will reattempt within the first year and be successful. And I just get emotional even just like saying that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because it
Yeah,
like
you're
makes me
overwhelmed with
remember.
gratitude, and you were that close to being somebody that was not over, never here again, never here on this earth, not here with your beautiful family, your wife and your daughters, your all your dogs. Like every time I see your daughter with the curly hair, like she is just so gorgeous and beautiful, and you were almost not going to be in her life.
Yeah. And so you know, at that moment, what I reconciled within myself was that it didn't matter what fucking pathway there was or what dogma I had. Like I was like all that shit disappeared because the most important thing to me at that moment was doing whatever I had to do to make sure that whatever was ailing me was taken care of, and that um, you know, that I had the self-esteem and self-worth to not do things to harm myself and continue to be who I need to be for my family. And I didn't care what that looked like. It didn't matter to me. I wasn't going to think inside of a box anymore because doing it that way, I had relapsed over and over and over again, you know? And so I was like, I'm
Yeah.
just going to do whatever. And so when I came back into recovery, I began continuing to use cannabis and got right back connected with the recovery community and started working and stuff. But coming back from all that shit, man, like because I came back out of treatment after 30 days, and I had the life of like a a person in recovery for 8 years. I had a home, a wife, kids, and all that stuff. I didn't go to a recovery house. You know what I mean? I came straight home because I had bills and shit to pay. Not everybody can afford to go into, And so, but see, that's what they tell you, and that's the landscape now. It's like if you relapse, they want you to quit your job, go to treatment in a recovery house, and do all this crazy shit. Like, dude, I get like everybody doesn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? With the proper supports. And so I came home. Luckily, I knew some friends in the recovery community that worked, and they gave me a job, and I got working back in the field. In my area, the field is progressive enough that I was really the first person to work in the field that uses cannabis. But now that I've done it, there's other people, and we're very lucky here. And
yes, y'all are blessed. That is amazing.
Yeah, because
you don't understand.
Yeah, I'm the program administrator at a recovery community organization, and so I'm not going to name that one here because whatever, but I just don't want to. Some people it's still stigmatized, but anyway, so in the course of me trying to get myself together, I'm seeing a therapist, I'm doing all these things, I'm going to meetings here and there, I'm involved with GRASS, which is my pathway, which is Green Recovery and Sobriety Support. It is an online platform for people that utilize cannabis. And
Green Recovery and Sobriety Support, GRASS. Did y'all hear that? Green
Yep.
Recovery and Sobriety Support. So if you're somebody who needs support and is using cannabis and you want to join in, there you go. I think that's so cool.
You know what's funny, Nicole? I didn't even realize it before I started telling you this story, but like part of the story involves like some microdosing of psilocybin too, because that was really
I'm very happy about that.
That was really like
that
was really like the prereq, like what led to it, right? Was like I had been reading about microdosing, and so I had started doing that, and it was you don't get any feeling from it, but it's supposed to do the same thing neurologically, right? Like with your neural pathways and things like that, and neuro regeneration and things, and so but then I switched strains and accidentally took a macrodose. So I actually like had a psychedelic experience, and it was pretty powerful. And but I don't really like the psilocybin, if I'm being honest, at that kind of way. It's a little bit too much for me. And so I didn't really want to do that, continue trying to do that, just because that type of experience is a little bit too much. But some friends of mine had told me about, I had been reading some studies also, because I stay up on the studies as a peer and working in the field. It's part of my job to do that, is to educate people about what is out there and what and so I have to educate myself. And so I've been knowing about all these psychedelics and ketamine coming on the scene and stuff for a while. And about a year or two ago, it got FDA approved for the treatment of treatment-resistant depression. So this is not some cockamamie, what they call snake oil, right? Like this is like
this is the real deal.
It's FDA approved, and from what I've heard about it, is that like what they found out is that people because they use this for surgeries, right, for an anesthetic, and that people that had reported depression before surgeries, that a lot of them after surgeries, like a month or two post-op, were like reporting less symptoms of depression. So kind of like how Viagra got found out through like a heart pill, it's kind of like a similar thing. And so, when they were doing some research, and there's much more to it neurologically. I've been reading up on it, but I don't know enough about it to speak about it yet, but I'm trying to get myself there. But essentially there's some neuro things that go on neurochemistry, and ketamine was targeting a glutamine receptor. I know that much. And so the doctors began studying it, and it just began, they found out it was working. But anyway, so I heard good things about this, and I looked in my area and there were some things popping up. And so, a friend of mine, Chauncey, that's here, that was on TikTok, she had done it. I hate to break her anonymity, but I think she had shared it. So I feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah, she shared it on TikTok.
Right. And so, she told me her experience with it, and I did a little bit of research, and man, like I'm like a year and a half into my recovery, or like a little over a year, close to a year and a half back into my recovery. And I'm really battling with depression and bouts of like crazy depressive episodes. And if I'm being honest, sometimes even suicidality, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
really bad anxiety. And I also have severe PTSD. And so, I was doing talk therapy and I was doing tapping and stuff like that and other energy therapies. And I was doing meditation and I'm doing everything I can. And some of it was working, but, I just was still struggling, quite honestly. And so I went to do the ketamine infusions, man. And, if you want, I can kind of walk you through what it's like a little bit. And
Yeah, tell us what the experience was like. I would love to
yeah,
hear
well,
it.
so you go in and they do like a screening on you, right? Because they want to check to make sure that you don't have anything that may contribute to you having some type of reaction that's not good.
Mhm.
And yeah, and then they do a little screening and they come in, ask you some questions and talk about why you're exploring this and educate you a little bit on it. And they kind of meet with you and discuss it and then kind of lay out a treatment plan. And then, and basically they like medically screen you, do like a little physical. And then they hook you up to an IV and they give you these headphones and you're in a room and basically they give it to you in like a drip. And so like it takes about 15 minutes to take hold, but once it does, it's like a really mild psychedelic experience. And even more so like enhanced with the sound and the music that you listen to is really important, the playlist and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
I try to listen to stuff with no words that just has like certain frequencies and sounds. And I tend to find that. And I think that the studies have shown that that's a little bit more better. But there's lots of playlists you can look online for like ketamine infusion playlists or psychedelic playlists, psychedelic integration playlists, things like that. And so I put the headphones on and they did it. And so when you do the infusion therapy, most places offer that you can do like the infusion there, but a lot of them don't really do the integration. So you just have the experience there and then you process it with your therapist or with another integration person. You can even do it with integration coach. Some people do. And they had those. JJ, my friend JJ, she's one of those here on TikTok. Um, and but this particular place I went to, they offer for like $50 extra. They would they'd do talk therapy with it. And so I ended up doing that for the first visit. It was like $500 a visit.
Were you
And then,
scared?
oh, I was scared for sure. I was like nervous, but I
Yeah.
was also excited because I felt like I had had enough people have a good experience with it. And I knew enough about psychedelic experiences that I know that the set and the setting are very important. And what that is the mindset and the
Mhm.
setting that you're in. Right. And so, like I wanted to make sure that I was in a positive mindset and I was, and so it started and, yeah, I was scared though. But once it comes on, it's just like a little bit of a psychedelic experience, but I can't really explain what it was like during the experience because it varies from person. But for me, it was just a very like it's psychedelic in nature, like connective, spiritual, a lot of like very, it's almost like I could see 1,000 perspectives at one time,
Yeah,
all at one
and the
time.
music is probably a lot more like I don't know how to explain it, but like when I hear music, and when I would have a psychedelic experience in the past, and I would hear music, it's like the music is in me, and it's like I feel it through my body and my heart,
Right.
everything.
Right. So what that experience does is it like, for me, what it did was it like connected me to something. It helped with like the lowering of my ego and the help with connectivity to myself and to the world around me. But once it's over, it's not the experience that has the value in ketamine therapy. It's the integration of it, which is like, and the way I like to think about this for me is it's almost like we have these fixed ideas and these narratives that we tell ourselves about, the world and life and ourselves. And we get really fixed on these same thought patterns. The same way that we have behavior patterns, we have thought patterns, and they're connected to emotion and everything in our lives. And what ketamine had did for me was it was almost like, imagine if those fixed things are like a narrative, like a story inside a snow globe. It's like shaking up the snow globe. It's like you get to reorganize the narratives and you get to pick and choose what narratives you want to tell yourselves, and then you get to live that out. And that's kind of and then that's up to you to do the work to maintain that, which has a lot to do with mindfulness and the law of attraction and, affirmations and positive self-image and all of these things, you know, relation.
So it
It's just,
rearranged you. You were being blocked off before, and then it rearranged you to open you up to where you could see yourself in a different light. So instead of
uh,
seeing Ryan that's broken and suicidal and depressed and unmotivated, it moved those things to the side and opened you up to be able to see Ryan that can be motivated, that can be happy, that doesn't want to take his life, wants to be alive and wants to help others and all those, right?
100%, dude. And you know what?
Okay.
And that's what, and for me, Nicole, like, thank you for bringing that up, because like people that talk shit, dude, like people will be online just like running their mouth about shit they don't know nothing about, dude. Like I was almost took my own life, dude, at the hands of my substance use disorder that I had been in 12-step recovery for 12 or 13 years for. I had been to therapy. I had been to, you know, everything you could think of. And sorry, I thought there was a bug on me. Um, but anyway, you know, and when I found this, man, and one thing I forgot to mention, when you do the ketamine infusions, they suggest you do 6 of them.
Mhm.
And there's a reason for that, but I don't want to go into that. But and you try to do them within a pretty short period of time, like 2 a week, maybe. I did mine a little bit more spaced out because I couldn't afford it that way. But
Yeah.
about 2 or 3 of those, after my second one or third one, my dad passed away.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I remember. I know. I remember that, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. He was my dad was my dog, man. And we used to grow cannabis too. And he didn't even smoke weed, but anyway, and so I'm telling you, Nicole, there's no shadow of a doubt in my mind that had it not been for those infusions. Like because I was going through that at the time, and it allowed me to be connected to myself and to that experience in a way that was so reflective and different perspective. You know, like I got like it ended up being, it was my biggest fear.
You're doing
It ended,
amazing.
it ended up being the most powerful thing that ever happened to me in my whole life. You know what I'm saying? In a transformative way. You know what I mean? Because it just brought home so many lessons for me. And I was going through the ketamine treatment at the time. I think it was like a culmination of a lot of factors, right? Like the ketamine infusions, my age, right? I'm at that like 40-year-old age where like we kind of start to see the world differently, you know, losing a
Yep.
parent. Also, you know, give me the ability to, you know, really value life at a different level. And thank God that I had, after that first infusion, I had started like really like trying to, because one of the things that revealed to me was just how precious time was. And I was like, you know, like I really want to live my life like I might die in 3 months, you know.
Yeah.
And I started living like that, thank God, before my dad passed away. And when he passed, there was nothing left unsaid between he and I. Thank God for that. Um, but yeah, man. And so it was just a really powerful experience for me. And it like there was a lot of lessons I had been working on for years, or the universe had been working on in me. And even my dad had been trying to tell me some of these things. But like with his passing and with the ketamine infusions and everything that was going on at that time, it's like it's almost like they were in like concrete that was wet, and that shit ain't wet no more. You know what I'm saying? It's done
Yeah.
dried up and it's solidified and it's like there, and it's like and I say that in a way that is like meaning that it's like you know, it's solid. But one thing I know about me that has been a catalyst for my continued growth is that things change all the time, you know, and this perspective could shift later, and I hope it does, and into something greater and more beautiful. And I just continue to evolve. And to me, that's what this whole thing is about, right? It's about treating the things that ail us at any cost, right? Like, I don't give a fuck what somebody's got to say in a 12-step program or out there that doesn't know me, because guess what? I can call my daughter in here right now and she'll tell you that she's the happiest person on this earth, that her daddy did whatever he had to do so that I could be here
Yeah.
and be present in their lives, right? Because I'm not the best dad. Don't get me wrong. I got a lot of flaws like any other person, but I'm here for my fucking children every single day. And I spend a lot of time with my kids and I hang out with them, and we're the best of friends. Like, they know when something happens and their ass is in hot water and they need somebody, I'm the first person they come to. You
Yeah,
know
you
what I
could be
mean?
dependable now. Like you're
That's
being
right.
a father, you know what I mean? And I just remember when your dad passed away, you started sharing stories about your dad, and I thought that was such a wonderful way to share like your grieving process and healing process all at the same time by like honoring his memory by sharing stories about him and stuff, you know?
Yeah,
And
dude.
that was a huge growth moment just in itself, watching you go through losing your dad and sharing that in real time as it was happening, you know?
Yeah, it was crazy, Nicole. And I'm telling you, like, something in my spirit told me to. I don't know if it was the ketamine or whatever, but something happened that led me to start telling those stories. And then, like, all like almost at the simultaneously, somebody, I was my therapist, I think it was, because I was telling him a story, and he said he didn't say tell him on social media, but he said you should probably tell more stories about your dad. That was like the
Yeah.
day my that was because the day my dad died, I went, or the next day I went, or it might have been that night I went to see my therapist because I have a therapist that's a well at the time was a bad motherfucker. He worked all hours, but he was cool as a bitch. But but yeah, he told me to do that, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. It helped me process it, and it was and I always have those videos to go look back at and remember, my dad, and just and even just now, just talking about it, I miss him tremendously. He was like everything I am, and I'm a pretty good guy. I ain't, I'm not, I ain't special, but, I care deeply about people and about the people in my life specifically, and about just trying to lead this world a better place. And I got that from my dad. Like I
Yeah.
am who I am. I am a complete reflection of my father, just like they say. I'm not religious really, but like they say in the Bible that, the son is a reflection of the father, it's like that. And so everything I am is because of him, my mom, and, the people that I've been blessed enough and fortunate enough to be around, and people like you, Nicole, even like when I first got on social media, I've been so blessed. I run into somebody like you that's been nothing but like open arms, love, and just awesome. I've never called you one time and you've been like, I can't help you.
Oh, I love you
It's
too, man.
always
I feel the
like,
same way about you. You know, I want to ask you something. When you started doing ketamine infusions, did you experience any backlash or any, like, people judging you for doing that? Because you were really open about starting them. I remember.
so listen, this is a wonderful question because of my position at my job, right? Like I'm a pretty public person, right? Like I work for a pretty large organization that serves a lot of people, and I do a lot of talking on social media. So yeah, like one of the biggest worst experiences. I don't think I've ever told anybody this publicly, but after my right before my second infusion, and I told you like set and setting, like the mindset is very important. But
Yeah.
I work right near where the ketamine infusion place is, so I could walk there from my job. And so I was on the way there, and I got a phone call from my boss, basically telling me that I had on a work shirt, and talking about ketamine, and that they wanted me to take my shirt off, and that I should take the video down and all this and that. And I was fucking furious because I felt unsupported, and it was
Yeah.
really just it was a trauma response, right? Because
Yeah.
it was like I like really it was like it was hurt, like damn, I felt abandoned, right? Like it's
Right. Right.
and so
Like you're
uh
ashamed of me. So like they're not that it feels like when they say that to you that they're not supporting that your path and that they're ashamed of what you're doing. And I think it's because of the stigma because they have been taught like that one way for so long that it takes a while for them to lean into opening up and being open to things, especially as a business, you know?
I agree, and I think that like with that being said, right, it's like you're exactly right. They were doing the best they could at the time, right? And I'm highly aware of that, and I'm so grateful for them for that because right now they're in a completely different space because they had the little bit of trust in me to like let's see where this goes. And I would be willing to bet that if you talk to any of those people that were scared of me doing this or were worried about what it was going to bring on the organization, um, that they would say, down the line, maybe not quite yet, but most of them would say I've changed a lot from the experience, and that you know, and that they've probably changed from it too. And so, and you know, like what more can you ask for, right? And
Absolutely.
you know, so and I still experience it now. Every time I do a video, I get a bunch of shit. But you know what, Nicole? I was gonna post a video today about it, but I didn't do it yet. But there was a guy on Joe Rogan that was talking about, and they were having back and forth. But Joe Rogan was just talking about like not contributing to any negativity anymore, dude. Like just not giving that shit my time no more, you know. And you know, I know it's hard, especially like with the social media age, because they can like target you and try to cancel you and shit. So it's really, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's bad. Oh, Dad, but you know what I love
They're
about you,
always
man?
coming for me, honey.
They
Always.
do, they do, and it's a bunch of witches. It's like, what do you do bad? Like, you literally just share your experience and try to help people. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, how could anybody have a problem with that? I just don't understand that. But they do the same thing to me, right? It's
I think
like,
it's
what am I
because they
doing?
see that we're soft. They see that we show our emotions and we show our vulnerabilities with ease. Okay? You're a grown man shedding tears on a live stream with me right now. I'm a grown woman shedding tears on a live stream with you.
You
People
know me, I don't
envy
care
that.
about it.
People
Yeah,
envy that. We have that's strength, being able to show your emotion and be vulnerable and really show people how things affect you. People might think that's a weakness. Those people they don't understand, because it's the biggest strength that I've ever, me being able to feel my feelings is the greatest feeling I've ever had in my whole entire life. And I
same.
love it. You know, I
Me
claim it
too.
all day long. I'm an emo,
Me
you know,
too. Me too. So
because for
so
years
yes,
we couldn't feel that. For years we were feeling either not feeling at all or feeling so down. And you know, because you experienced that.
I do. And you know what, man? Like I still do experience a lot of stigma around it, if I'm being honest. But I really take like this, and I'm not saying that I'm nobody, right? But a lot of people do see the content that I make, and I do come on shows like this, and I do have a little bit of reach, and I don't take that responsibility lightly. And so um, I realize, right, like I have a responsibility to let people know, man, that there are things out there that can help you or that help me. Does it mean
Yeah.
that it can? Does it mean that it can work for everybody? No. Are there potential dangers? Yes, yes. But there's potential dangers and there's potential risk with everything we do, just like anything else, right? And so I don't expect anybody. When I share my story, I'm not asking anybody to go do that or to even approve of anybody. They love to do it. All I'm doing is to asking people to acknowledge my experience, right? And to maybe listen to other people's experience and take into their account those people's experience. I'm not asking nobody to do nothing, but to listen to what I have to say and others have to say that have walked down this path. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Nicole, I have yet to meet a person in person. I've seen people online say stuff, but I have yet to meet a person in person that has used um, this intervention, right, which is these ketamine infusions, and not had a great benefit.
Yeah, I've seen so many positive experiences online, and I've even seen people where they take you into the room, and
Mhm.
the room where you have the infusions, they have you like laid back in like a recliner, and they have like beautiful lights on the ceiling and the music. It's like an ambiance, you know, and it's like so peaceful looking. Like it's really freaking amazing. When
Yeah.
you were looking to try ketamine infusions, how did you find a reputable company or doctor's office or psychiatrist that provided the infusions? What did you look for? How do you know if it's going to be a safe experience?
Um, Sorry, wonderful question.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, so what I did first was I started researching online and started looking for, just ketamine infusion in my area, right? And I, I just so happened to know about one that was here in my area because, like I said, it was right across the street from my work. And my boss had actually told me that it was over there. That's the first time I had ever even heard of it being a thing, really. And that was like a couple
Yeah.
years ago. And so I knew about that place, but I reached out to them and then did some other research, and I found out about a place called Mind Bloom. and this is not an advertisement by no means. They don't pay me or anything like that. But this is just for information. They're kind of like the like that website Hims that sends out like Viagra to people and shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a mix of Hims and BetterHelp. it's kind of like they send you the ketamine in the mail, like you do a screening online through an app, and then if you fit the bill, they'll prescribe it to you. This is how FDA approved it is. Right, that they can do that like this and send it through the mail, and they like walk you through it. They give you a playlist. I think they do like a journal, and hold on. Dad, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't hear you, motherfucker.
Can you hear me now?
I can't. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, I can. All right.
Okay.
And so where was I at?
You were telling me about how they send it in the mail. That's how FDA approved it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it's FDA approved enough. Like it's
it's not like you're going down to the damn drug dealer's house and getting you a thing of ketamine. Like this is this is real deal.
It's legit.
This is not,
it's legit.
Yeah.
It's legit. And Mind Bloom is legit. Like they send it in a really nice packaging, and then I think they have like a journaling thing as part of their app, like the way to help integrate it. Like Mind Bloom is really good, and they send it to you in the mail, and then you can do it that way. But I just didn't feel comfortable with that. And then they also had like places around in my area, like one that would prescribe you esketamine, the nasal spray, because that's another way that they do it.
Yeah.
That's FDA approved. And I would just, I would feel more comfortable. I wanted to do it in a professional setting and like in that kind of lane, because I had heard the best things about that. That's the only people I really knew that had experience with it. And so that's the one that I chose.
Did you do the nose ones ever?
No, not that way. No.
Okay.
No, but I've heard great things about it. And then, listen, it's the same experience from my understanding. Like I think the infusions are a little bit stronger, but it's not about, like I said, the ketamine infusions are not about the way it makes you feel. It's about what happens neurochemically, and I believe like interpersonally, like within yourself and within like your like your mind in the way you see the world, And
I think my husband would be a perfect candidate for treatment for ketamine infusions, because my husband has struggled with debilitating depression since I met him for so many years. And talking to you and hearing about, like, that's the way I am interpreting what you're telling me, is that you were blocked for years and this moved that blockage over to the side so you could get through, you know what I mean? And not have that thing stopping you from being able to heal and grow and connect and all the things.
Right. So this is the best way I can explain it. Maybe everybody can't understand it this way for me, right? But this is the best way that I can make sense of it, right? Because most people at some point in their life have like some type of psychedelic experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's like if you have a good psychedelic experience, a good one, there's usually like a feeling of connection that comes as a result, right? Usually the last like maybe like during the experience, but with ketamine, it's not quite as powerful during the experience, but it's like it lasts afterwards. And then ketamine kind of gave me the tools to it's almost like, you ever been working on something and you got like one set of eyes on it and you're looking at it, and then you get somebody to come over and look, and then they're like, oh, here goes the puzzle piece right here. And you've been looking at it for an hour. Yeah. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that, right? Like it's like getting a new set of eyes for a second, but like getting 100 different sets at one time,
Yeah, that's amazing.
Like, right?
It's like brings on another layer of self-awareness, only deeper introspection.
Exactly. But then you get to choose, like, you also get to like, and then I think there's been some science there's a lot of neuroscience behind this. I'm just telling you, like, how I like see it, but there's a lot of neuroscience behind it about like the way it helps with neuro regeneration, like the regeneration of neurons, and some other stuff neurochemically that I don't know enough about to talk about. But you can do your own research. It's all in there. Hopefully, by the time I do another one of these, I'll be better informed and will read enough and understand it enough neurochemically and
I would love
neurobiologically.
for you to take us on an experience where you go in and have it done and vlog it.
Oh, 100%. I'll do that.
Yeah.
If they'll let me do it. I mean, I'm sure they would. Between me and you, Nicole, like I do a lot of videos, but I always feel uncomfortable when I'm recording there anywhere where anybody can see.
You should, not me. I mean, I feel a little uncomfortable, but I will talk. Up the town away out in public. I just like to make sure I'm not in people's way because I hate that when I see somebody that's like vlogging and they're like not being respectful of people like trying to move around and da. So as
Right.
long as I know I'm not in people's way, I don't feel bad. But what you could do is call ahead of time, let them know. I'm sure Mind Bloom would love to be put out on your social media, and
Right.
so other people could see that. That would be like a commercial almost for them, you
Right.
know?
So Mind Bloom is the one that does it at home, but like the one I went to in my area, and I'm just gonna give them a shout out just because I
Yeah,
love
shout
them
them
real
out.
quick.
Tell us.
Is a place called Alchemy Wellness. Right.
Alchemy Wellness.
Yep. And so I'm gonna tell you, they're not like I think they do have a chain, maybe one or two of them around here in this area, but like I think they got one in Fredericksburg, maybe, but 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 listen, then this is something to watch out for. Okay, just
Okay.
like any space that there's profit to be made, you're gonna have bad players. It just is what it is. Okay,
Oh yeah, for sure.
especially right. So like read reviews, do your research. Like do a little bit of investigating. Don't just go to the one that's cheap. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times we wanna do that. I want to say this too. As of right now, I think that it is reimbursable through some insurance companies. At some places, I think they're working on getting better approval, but I'm pretty sure that within the next few years it'll be available through Medicaid, and then you're
Just
going to
like
see.
there's bad rehabs that are only about getting PPO insurance and body brokering people, there's going to be bad mental health places where all they care about is getting your insurance or charging cash money and not giving you the best treatment that you deserve. So, like, make sure if you're looking for a place that they're going to offer you, like a consultation, follow ups, connections with therapy afterward, all the things that you deserve to have when you're getting help with your mental health.
Yes, 100%,
Yeah.
100%, and yeah, man. So Alchemy Wellness was great, and yeah, man. And so, um, listen, like there's so many places out there right now too that just do alternative therapies as well, like and I don't even mean psychedelic stuff. Like, I'm really into anything. Like, I would encourage anybody, like, if there's anything in your area that's popping up that's recovery related that you haven't done, give it a shot. Like, what's the worst that could happen? You pick up a new tool that you didn't have.
Yeah.
Like, I think people, and then like what I also say is when people do that, it helps to eliminate the tribalism that exists amongst recovery, right? Like, the tribalism exists because people just go to this one place and get their recovery. Like, that don't
Yeah.
even make sense. It's like, don't you get tired of eating at the same restaurant every motherfucking night?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
I like to
saying?
change it up. But it
Right.
was hard for me to do that because I had been, I had been indoctrinated for so many years that I
Dude,
felt guilty breaking away. I felt
100%.
guilty being on Suboxone. I
Yep.
felt guilty, doing Mara instead of AA,
100%, man.
even though that way was not working for me fully. Like, I loved working the 12 steps, but like the abstinence part did not work for me, and so I felt this immense amount of guilt breaking away from that and admitting that that didn't work for me because to me it looked like everybody else it was working for. But you know what helped me? TikTok. When I came
Yeah.
onto TikTok, that it's this younger generation of kids talking about, hey, that didn't work for me. This is what's working for me. And they opened my mind so much. That's when I changed, was in 2020 from TikTok and all of the new generation of up and coming recovery creators talking about their MAT, their cannabis recovery. I used to think that cannabis recovery was not good. I thought that it was horrible and that you were just staying stoned all day long, and I didn't support it because I didn't understand, you
So
know?
did I, dude. I did too. I did too. You ain't alone. I was the same way, right?
And
And I
so
used to
they
think,
helped me
yep,
to
same,
open my
same.
mind so
Yep.
much. Even though I was on Suboxone, I was still so close-minded because I had been taught that for so long, you know? And
Yeah,
that's
but you know
why,
what?
go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
What? That's why I wanted to have you on to talk about this, because I want people to understand that um, there's like help out there, and I have so many people that are struggling that feel like they're not going to ever be able to get better, and that's how I felt for a long time, you know. And I don't want people to feel hopeless or get to a point where you were at and want to not be here on this earth anymore. So if I can share with them about ketamine infusions, cannabis recovery, kratom recovery, MAT recovery, you know, religious recovery, whatever, and they find something in those different paths that helps them save their life from dying. That's the goal, you know?
That 100%. That's it. That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah,
You
I don't
know,
want
I
people
mean,
to die.
me either. And I plan on like, I think that, um, you know, I've been doing this stuff with the dogs, but I also like, I think I'm eventually going to get into like just doing like, you know, private coaching and like ketamine. I think eventually do like ketamine integration coaching. And like, I think that as the time goes on, um, like, because it's legal, right? There'll be a lot of people doing, like, there's going to be a lot of data produced because people that go get it done, they're going to have to answer questions about stuff. And so what you're going to start seeing is there's going to be lots of applications for ketamine for people with substance use disorder, right?
Yeah,
And
just like Suboxone when Suboxone came onto the scene. And now look at how supported MAT recovery is now.
yep, yep.
That's
And
what
so,
ketamine recovery is going to be like, I bet.
well, yeah, but like I don't, like people don't take it every day. But there's going to be people will be, sorry, people will begin to see the applications for it, like as far as helping to treat the underlying issues. I also think that that we're starting to get away from the disease concept of
I think we
addiction,
are
you know,
too.
and
Hmm.
I think that, you know, as a society, we're getting more and more away from that. I know people have been so ingrained in that, and I still think that there is some value and maybe even a little bit of truth into that, right? But I think that addiction is much more complex than, I think it's a little bit of everything, like a little bit of the genetic component, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Definitely a maladaptive coping mechanism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so there's a lot of, but I'm just excited and anxious to see where we're going with this. I'm really grateful for you and for just everybody that's out here doing whatever they're doing to help progress recovery forward. You know, even at times, the bickering. Like I hate to admit it, and I, you know, sometimes you know, we got to disagree in order to move forward sometimes, and you know, I try to avoid that at all costs, but you know, sometimes, or I try to avoid taking it to their door, but sometimes they bring it to mine, and you know, I really try to educate people as much as I can. I think we're doing a good thing. I think society as a whole, as this thing continues, people continue to share their stories and share their benefit, and how much they're gaining from it. It'll begin to take more hold. But I got to say this: what the studies have shown is, and I was talking to a therapist about this the other day, that with ketamine, just doing, I think, the 6 infusions, um, they're not seeing a whole lot of sustainability um, in certain people, right?
Mhm.
Like it's not like, I want to say, it's not a magic bullet. It's not like you're going to do the ketamine and cure everything. It takes a lot of work. You know, it's not like you're going to take the, it's not a medication that you're going to take the medication and it's going to fix you.
Right,
This medication is going to give you the tool to fix yourself if you're willing,
right,
but it's going to take some work. You know what I mean?
right. You have
And
to put in the
so
work. You're going to have to do other treatments, and it's going to be just a tool.
100%, 100%. And so, but yeah, man. And, you know, I just did some intervention training this weekend. I don't know if you saw that. I would encourage you,
I
Nicole,
did.
if you
I
ever get
saw
the
it.
chance, dude, if you ever get the chance, you should take that shit. I'm sure Sam and them would probably, Dr. B should pay for you to do that thing if you're still working with him.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. What was it like? Was it fun?
Yeah, and then like once you do the training, you get to be a provider on the intervention on call website. So, like if I had the clientele and could pay $200 a month, which I probably do if I started doing it, like you can book hour slots for $150 to basically give, instead of people paying thousands of dollars for an intervention, they might
Yeah.
only need like an hour consultation to help the family set some healthy boundaries or to make a couple changes that don't need an intervention. You understand what I'm saying?
No,
And
I
so
totally
that,
understand.
and so,
You
you
can
know,
do that on your own, Ryan. I want you to know that. And I could help you establish a platform where you could do that without having to be connected to anybody else. Just so you know. Just so
I
you
do
know.
know that, but I think that there's a benefit to being involved with that because, so when you're part of like a site like that, it's kind of like on being on BetterHelp, right? It's like,
Maybe if they have like a girl that doesn't want to have a guy, then they could have like people to choose from or something like that.
yeah,
You mean?
I don't know, and maybe I guess you're right. I guess you're right. I mean, and that's why I've been meeting with this business manager because I'm trying to figure out what I want to do and where I want to go. And like, you're really suave with this shit. Like like
You think?
I'm
I'm
working in
not.
like, I'm working at a recovery center all day long. I'm going in and out of jails. Like I'm so busy with my own
You're
shit.
doing the damn thing. I envy you. I want to go to the jails and tell my story. I want to do that
Dude,
kind of stuff.
come to Virginia. I'll take you into jail.
You know what I mean? I want to go
It-
talk to the guys and the girls in the jailhouse. I love that. I live for public speaking. I would rather do that than do like one-on-one coaching and stuff. You know what I mean? Like I
Dude,
really
listen.
enjoy that.
I wonder would there be a way where we could do a live and have you in the jail speaking to them in the jail. I can make that happen if we could do that.
I would love to. I would love to because I've been to prison and everything, and I would love to come out there. I could fly out there to West Virginia. I don't. It's not
Hold on.
expensive.
We're in regular Virginia. We ain't in West Virginia.
Oh, Virginia, but I
We
can
in
still
the
fly
city.
there. You
Dude,
know,
well look,
we'll
let's talk
connect
about
and
it.
talk about that later.
Dude, and listen,
Um,
if you're willing, I'm serious. You seen I brought that dude in there today from the UK. Did you see that?
I would love to do it on a live too. I want you to know when you had me come and speak at the recovery center, like what 2 years ago, that
Yo, you
meant so
crushed
much
it,
to
dude.
me, and I
Oh, you
loved
did such a
doing
good
it.
job. You did such a
I,
good job. I wanted to keep doing that, but it was like connection issues. Remember, we had a little bit of
yeah,
connection issues, and
yeah.
it was like I think now it's gotten a lot better. We might be able to redo it again, and start doing that again because you really did an amazing job, Nicole, that day. Um,
I love speaking with people on a big platform. You know what I mean? Like
you,
I really enjoy it. I get so much out of it. Like I think that maybe the people probably think I'm crazy or something, but every time I tell my story, I feel like I pull back a layer.
yeah, you
You
did a
know?
wonderful job. You did a
So I
wonderful
just love
job.
it. I love helping people. Ryan is the same way I am, you guys. Like he's very
You are.
emotional. He's very
I
connected.
am.
He loves
You make
helping
me
people
cry.
too. And
I do.
we just love helping people because it also helps us to stay in recovery to be able to give back to other people. And I can't stress that enough, like how much being connected and helping others helps me stay connected to myself, you know?
It really does. It really does. Me too, man. And like these last couple of years working at the recovery center, man, because I work with all people like brand new in recovery, dude. So like
Yeah.
you talk about challenging, you know what I mean? And like having them all in a group setting all day long, that shit is hard as fuck.
Yeah, I
You know what I
bet.
mean? But
Yeah.
so it's given me a lot of patience. It's taught me a lot about how to communicate because like I kind of used to, when all you got is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. You know what I'm saying? Is what they say.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just only had one coping mechanism, which was defensiveness and anger, and and so like I was always, it got in the way of me doing my job effectively at times. And so, now over the last couple of years, my patience has increased, my level of compassion, and I'm able to connect with them in a way different level. And so, I feel like now I've kind of evolved. And I've been doing peer work for a really long time and doing a lot of groups for years. It's like my niche. And so, like I'm really good at that. And so I connect very well with them. So when I go to work every day, like I've really, like, not just me, but the participants up there and the rest of the staff, we've really created an environment up there that's not even like work for me. when I go up there, because it's like such a good energy, and like the people up there. Don't get me wrong, you got some people that work your fucking nerves, but all in all, it's challenging just enough, and it's like I love doing it. Like they say, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. I really truly believe that because I'm experiencing it right now.
That's the kind of recovery center you want to go to, is where the people that work there like really enjoy doing what they're doing. I feel like it's so common and often that people in that work in recovery, they are not paid well, and they are stressed out, and they are overwhelmed, and so they lose their pizzazz for their recovery and helping people, and it turns into just like a robotic thing. And if you have to have passion and conviction behind when you're helping people, especially newcomers in recovery, because that is the chance where you're catching them, and they're new, and hearing you have passion and be so on fire for recovery, that is what lights their fire.
Right.
And if you don't
Well,
have that, you can lose them and they're gone out the door.
no doubt. Well, a lot of people, man, because they're so early in recovery when they work in this field, I think everybody does it. I even did it and still do it sometimes. Is you run into where when you're working with a big group of people, where it's like it's easy to fall into the habit of addressing the behavior and not the need, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Oh,
so,
totally.
so like the need is like the behavior might be them acting out, but the need is they need to feel safe, or they need to feel better about themselves, or they need to feel more connected, right? They really feel alone, right? And so because usually when somebody's acting out, like their behavior is showing one thing, but it's something else, and we most oftentimes, and when you got people that are frustrated and are not paid well, and are also in recovery and early recovery, don't really know themselves well enough and
Yeah.
haven't really good coping skills. And sometimes, it can be, those recovery centers become a place where there's some recovery going on and a lot of control,
Yeah.
right?
Control. Yeah.
Right. And so what we try to do is have a little bit of control and a whole lot of recovery.
I'm going to start looking at everybody on TikTok and I'm going to start thinking in my mind, I'm going to treat the need, not the behavior. If you look at people the way they respond to you online about your videos, about your experience, and start breaking it down that way, you could really end up helping that person that's being negative to you instead of just bickering with them.
That's a great. I didn't even think about it like that way, but yeah,
Good
you're
tip.
you're
Thank
right.
you.
You're right.
I'm so
You're right at
glad you
that.
came on. Like, I adore you, Ryan, and I'm always going to be here to support you. I want you to know that. Like, your
Dude, you always have
sobriety
been.
is the shit. You are such a kind, caring, loving, tolerant, patient man, and I admire you, and I really want you to know that you're important to me, and I love you so much. And
Thank you so
I'll
much,
help
Nicole.
you any way I can help you succeed. Anything you ever need help with me from, let me know. I'm going to link all your social media platforms on this video. You saw the badass thumbnail I made.
I
So
did.
if you need anything from me, let me know. And is there anything you want to say to everybody before you go?
Do you know? Well, first, I want to say thank you to you. I love you so dearly, man. You've always been an amazing supporter, and I just love what you do all around. So, love you for that, and look forward to continuing to rock with you and see where we take this thing. But no, I guess what I just want to tell anybody out there, man, is today's days and times, man, recovery is so dynamic and so multidimensional and so beautiful, right? Like there's so much out there that can enhance our lives. Now, listen, if what you're doing is enhancing your life and it's working for you, then hey, no worries. But if you're like I was, and you may have tried a certain lane and it didn't seem to be working for you, or every few years you kept falling, maybe don't just put that on the shelf, but maybe like try some other things in association with that, and just see what else is out there. And because I'm gonna tell you right now, not being bullied, right? Not being bullied into submission by the masses has given me freedom that I never would have seen possible if I would have let other people tell me what to do. So I suggest, getting with the people that care about you, get to know yourself really good, and really try to figure out whatever you need to do to get yourself better. Because I'm telling you right now, there are so many solutions out there. There is no excuse to not be able to find one. And if there's anything I can do, I'm sure Nicole can do to help you get some information or to help steer you in any direction. Please let me know. I will, if I got any resource, I will let you get it. Anything I got up here, you can have. It all came to me free of charge, so with a little pain. But anyway, thank you once again, Nicole. Sorry for going on and on and on, but I really love you. Thank you for what you've been doing, and thank your audience for watching, tuning into this. I hope something I've said has helped educate or motivate, inspire somebody out there, man. Love each other, be kind, and don't cost nothing. Thank
We
you,
love you,
Nicole.
man.
Love you
Be
too.
good. I'll holler at you later, okay?
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, guys. That was my friend Ryan Riggs. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to his experience with ketamine infusions for his treatment-resistant depression. Ryan had like an extreme case of suicidal ideation, depression, substance use disorder, and he has a light in his eyes and a freedom that I can feel through the damn phone. Like I can feel it through the screen. And that's why I get so emotional when we talk, because I can feel that he cares. I can feel that he feels better, and that makes me feel so good as well. I will be having on our next guest we will be having on is either going to be psilocybin, kratom, or NAD. So I think the NAD, I think I'm going to reach out to my friend Justin. Him and this doctor, they created this treatment where it's NAD and ketamine infusions, and they're helping people come off of heroin, Suboxone, fentanyl, alcohol, benzos with no withdrawal whatsoever. And they co-created it. Okay, it's a combination of ketamine and NAD. And so look forward to our next live stream. I will post a event so you guys know when the live stream is going to be. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it helped you guys understand that, this isn't just some fly-by-night thing. This isn't just us going down to the local drug dealer and saying, hey, can I get some ketamine? Can I get some special K? This is FDA approved treatment for treatment-resistant depression. And so if you're somebody who has been struggling for many years and you're at the end of your rope, get with your doctor, talk to your psychiatrist, and see if this would be something that you could benefit from. And I love you guys. I'm always here to support you. And I hope you guys have a great night, and I hope you enjoyed life. Bye.